I've
Can-
had great interaction with Blur. Blur's been always good. Blur, I don't know what the Blur does. What does he do?
Can we all just be
someone
happy?
Game a
What
lot,
has
y'all.
he done?
I mean, he worked at Twitch. I don't know what he does now, though.
Like I have no idea what he does now. As far as I'm aware, he's just unemployed
Has
and he's
opinions
like,
about things.
I'm Blur.
His job is being Blur.
I don't. That's all I think it is.
And say, you and I have both talked about, like, there's a lot of people who are suddenly on the, like, oh yeah, like, screw Nintendo, we're all against this. And I'm like, you were the ones who sold us out in the first place. Like, you had 3 different PM tournaments shut down by yourself, and now you're suddenly like, I'm hardcore for PM. It's like, what are you talking about? How'd you do that? And I don't know how much of that we want to get into here,
First
but
of all,
it's
I
certainly an
wanna
option.
First of all, I want to say that I love that you have me come on your stream, and then the first thing you did was be like, "Hey, Alex, could you like talk some shit real quick?"
And that's when I was like, maybe this isn't quite the best thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like let's fuck it, dude. Like it's fucking 9:30 on a Sunday, and we're streamed to 12 people. Let's fucking run it. Like, like. It's really funny to see people like Blur and like Juggle Guy coming out and trying to like be like, hey fellow kids. It's just like dude, Blur, like, you literally actively prevented us from running Project M events in SoCal. Like,
yeah,
dude, you literally, like, killed SSS
twice.
Like, PM twice.
There's a lot of people that have been putting up big talks right now that I really hope keep this up. Because there are, like you said, there's names like Blur or Juggle Guy. Juggle Guy I haven't seen say anything about PM, but, like, man, my Twitter notifications are full right now because I interacted with Bobby Scar because he talked about PM. And like there's people like him that never were anti-PM, but it's like I really hope this isn't like, oh, this is cool that PM's involved, and then like by the time in-person events are a thing, we're just forgotten again.
Do you remember when the Even Bigger Balk happened and it was like,
yeah, it was
there was like that brief moment where everybody was talking about it and people were like, it was okay, and then that just went away again.
Right. There was a like 3-day period where, unfortunately, the only names I can think of people that like talked about it are all pieces of. They're all the redacted folks. Like I don't want to mention them by name right now.
Yeah.
But they were all like suddenly talking about PM on Twitter and saying like, oh, it's really cool that they just streamed it on Twitch. It's like, yeah, we've been able to basically from the moment that Twitch stopped trying to appease Nintendo, we've been able to be on Twitch again. And I don't know what would happen if an event got big enough that Nintendo would do something. But I think since Twitch gave up trying to do their circuit because of Nintendo, everybody's been fine to stream PM on Twitch again. And that still is the biggest misconception I hear. Everybody is shocked that we stream on Twitch.
Yeah, and we do it all the time. Like everybody does it now.
So I knew there was a Melee thing, and I knew that PM was going to be a part of it. I didn't know what it was, though. I didn't know that it was like a bunch of content or things like that. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited that not only I was excited before I saw PM was in it, because I'm a Melee fan. Like I play I play Melee, PM, and Rivals. And so like that's cool for me in general, but then to see that the way I've described it for a long time is that the reason a lot of people think of me as like a PM person first before the other games isn't that I put more time into PM, because I probably play and watch each about the same amount. It's that one of the games really needs my help if it wants to keep existing, and so I'm going to focus on that one with like a lot of my energy. And like when there's been years where I'm the only person who's run a tournament in my state for multiple years in a row, and now at the fact that like I mentioned earlier, I've done commentary at like I think it's now 5 of the top 10 biggest PM tournaments of all time. I've done top 16 or higher commentary on. which is something that was insane for me back in 3.02 when I just started watching the game. Like, there's crazy stuff. And I don't know, like, that game would not be here if it wasn't for the community behind it that's still actively doing things. I don't know where I'm going with this point. I'm just, like, angry and yelling now. But
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's definitely, like, it's definitely really special, and a weird thing. And it's like, I don't know, like, we were talking about, like, the PM being included at this weird week-long Melee thing that they're doing, and like it was like Paper Fairy reached out to me like a week ago, was like, hey, can you make a 30-minute video about the history of PM within the next 2 weeks? And I said, no. Of course I can't.
Right.
Can't do that. And it was like, and then it was like, now I gotta, all right, let's strap in, folks, and get, yeah, it's, yeah. It's very weird, the social situation that we have found ourselves in, which, because
right.
I'm a gay bitch that loves drama, and that's just, that's just what I'm always thinking about. And like, the fact that it's like, oh wow, I'm in this Discord with like a bunch of like making it a documentary, and like,
I mean, like, you are literally in a Discord
all of these
for this thing
that we have been talking a lot of shit about.
Well, I was gonna say, you're literally in a Discord
like,
call,
it's all,
or not call, but you're in a Discord for this week-long Melee content thing with people that refuse to talk to you for your documentary. Like, they actively ran away from you so you couldn't interview them. Like,
yeah, and it's like, well, fuck, I guess we should have waited to do this documentary. Because I guess people were gonna get a lot more chill about it when their game started getting affected. I mean, like, that's what this shit is all about, right? Like, I don't know, I like, I said this the other day, like, I don't actually have like a moral high ground over like the Melee people
right.
who sold out PM. Like, I'm also an esports sellout. I work for Smash GG. I work for Microsoft now. Like, I make the fucking money, dude. I get it, but like, like, clearly, the only reason these people are saying anything right now is because now it's their fucking bottom line,
sure,
is at risk, and it wasn't there, before, they were willing to cut PM loose because they could still make it work without it, but now it's like, oh, well, I guess we have nothing to lose because we can't run events, so we can't do anything.
Like, it's not just that there's nothing to lose, but at this exact moment, it is like profitable for a Melee TO who like scorned PM to basically say, no, I've always loved PM. Look at all the positive press. Like, right at this moment, it is the best option for someone who said, no, fuck PM 5 years ago. The best option for them to say is, I never said that.
What I need and what would do my heart some good is if one of them goes, yeah, I was one of the people that sold out this game, and you know what? I regret it. Just be honest about it and be like, hey, I screwed up. Let's bring it back.
Be great.
I mean,
I would love that. I would love
if any of them did, I'd be like,
Blur. I would love that from Juggle Guy. Yeah.
Because like, I can be cautiously hopeful right now that someone like that just any of the big tournaments, whether that's Genesis or Big House or whatever, I can be cautiously hopeful that some of those head TOs are considering doing PM now. Well,
I think they're though.
I think anybody that already partnered with Nintendo is screwed. Yeah.
That like they like Big House and like Genesis and I don't know whatever Blur's do. It's so funny. Like Blur's
not doing anything.
Blur's
doing literally nothing.
Anything. Blur just like Blur just doesn't like Project F.
I've had great interaction with Blur. Blur's been always good. I don't know what the Blur does. What does he do?
Can we all just be happy?
What has he done?
I mean, he worked at Twitch, I don't know what he does now, though.
Like I have no idea what he does now. As far as I'm aware, he's just unemployed.
Has
And
opinions
like,
about things.
I'm Blur.
His job is being Blur.
I don't. That's all I think it is.
So yeah. So real quick, I want to address something that someone said in the chat. Somebody asked about Blur. Doesn't he like provide CRTs or some shit? So if you are not aware, there is a project, or was a project in SoCal Smash where Blur had just a shitload of CRTs and was paying for the storage for them and would like basically rent them out for free to the meme is that Blur gets mad at people for breaking CRTs.
And then he broke one CRT for a bit then, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm apparently somebody asked him like recently, like on a stream, like about PM, and he said like, no, I don't hate PM. I like provided TVs for them for events. I would just like to say that Blur actively did not provide TVs for us for events. Like it was literally like we asked and were told no because we were running PM.
Cool.
Just wanted to throw that out there. Put that on the record for y'all.
Yeah, I think the theme of this stream, specifically because of the people that I invited on, and I knew this, was going to be
salt.
Well, it's going to be the like we are tentatively hopeful that all of these people will actually support PM in the way they're saying, but past actions haven't proven that, and we need a lot of proof at this point. Like even more than just like, okay, we're on the Melee on Me thing, which I'm very excited about, and I think apparently there's a chance I'm going to be involved in it. Like there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm very happy about it. But none of this means anything if at the end of the day our events are still shut down. And not shut down by Nintendo, but are shut down because a TO isn't willing to host our game, even though we are okay to provide our own TOs and our own everything else.
It's really hard to know what Nintendo is going to do, because like you can look at a lot of things and be like, oh, well, there's precedent for XYZ, because Nintendo has never C&D'd an event that wasn't partnered with them before. That's never happened, right? But
they could.
What I've learned is that like you really they're freaking, they're just weird, and they'll just do weird things. I mean, like why did PM get to exist for 6 years without getting a cease and desist?
And then suddenly
unlike every other Nintendo fan project ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then suddenly it couldn't, very suddenly. I've heard, this is not something that I put in the doc because I couldn't like
confirm,
I couldn't verify it in any way, but like I've heard people say like, yeah, I think that there was like people at Nintendo who were actively trying to like keep them from doing anything about PM, which I kind of believe, because I've heard that people at Nintendo of America were like playing PM on their lunch breaks. I've
heard that, yeah. Yep, I've heard that.
Yeah, that I have like independently verified from multiple people. That's definitely true. Yeah.
I mean, no, someone asked me today, like, is the move now basically just to say, you know what? Do we just move on? Does everyone in every Nintendo kind of esport just say, all right, well, I guess time to find new games, find new homes?
I mean, what's important to you? Was it about the game or was it about making money?
Mm-hmm.
Because you wanted to hang out with your friends and you wanted to play the game and you wanted to get better and compete and have a good time? Or was it about esports streams? You know, was it about being famous and getting clout?
I say, if it was about esports streams, we wouldn't have all played PM anyways. But
yeah, I like esports for the drinking.
I don't know, man. But that's like kind of the messed up that part though, because part of PM is like you can make a name for yourself very easily, because if you just give a shit enough, people will know who you are. And it's like, I think that did kind of appeal to me. I don't know, like I'm not gonna like I don't want to. I said this earlier. I don't think I have like a moral high ground over Melee TOs, you know. And I just think that I made the right decisions for me
Oh, for
the
sure.
right time. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that I didn't care about having like Smash clout. Like, I absolutely cared about that. I don't care about that anymore because now I'm a communist. But like, you know, there was a time where that was something that was really important to me. I wanted Melee players to like know who I was and care about who I was, and like,
Sure.
I think a lot of people do care.
Oh, there's a ton. There's a ton of people. It's very funny on my end because
it feels great to let go of that.
Right. Yeah. No, it's very funny on my end because I'll get people that have asked me like straight up like, why do so many players know who you are? Or like, why do all these TOs know who you are? Or, like, how do you get gigs on commentary? I'm like, I just like kept helping with events, and like honestly, my breakthroughs in commentary started with PM stuff.
Just show up.
Like, I just kept like volunteering for things. I didn't do this because I wanted people to know who I was. It was a lot of them where if I don't do it, no one does it. Or like it was easier to get to the point. So like I have done early pools commentary at like I'm trying to think of like what's the highest level of, I guess CEO Dreamland would be the highest level of like event that I've done commentary at for like top 16.
Like Genesis, right?
I did Rivals at Genesis and I did Smash Sisters at Genesis, but not official like pools.
Hell yeah.
But like I'm at a spot right now where I could do top 16 or top 8 commentary at any PM or Rivals event. Easy. Like that's just kind of where I'm at now. And it was a lot easier for me to get there, as we've just discovered, because I'm still doing like early pools at majors sometimes for Melee, and sometimes I don't get hired at all. And it's like, yeah, it's way easier to make a name for yourself in a smaller community. All the people that are arguing about like, well, Nintendo has to do this because if they don't, then they won't be able to protect their IP. It's like, no, they don't.
Yeah.
Do you know how many other companies are just like, oh, you're modding our game? Cool. I joked about Farming Simulator earlier, which has like $60,000 pot bonuses. Guess what? Farming Simulator esports came from a mod of the original Farming Simulator. Like, Dota came from a mod. CSGO came from a mod. What else? Like, every big esport came from a mod. Most of those companies then just hired the people because they're like, oh, they're like really good at making this stuff. Cool. Like, none of this is the legal precedent one is the one that makes me the most upset, because other companies clearly don't have that same precedent and don't need to.
I mean, you know, Nintendo is a massive hierarchical organization with tons of power where, you know, people who are way out of touch and don't give a fuck about what you want are in charge of everything and just don't care about any of the things that we have been talking about for the past hour because it doesn't make this line past this line on a chart. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
So
I don't know. I think I'm tapped out, y'all. I think that's
I
was gonna say, like, I'm gonna grab some food, have a smoke.
We've all been angry. I've already streamed later than I meant to.
This is angry boy hours. This is okay. We can be a little bit grumpy. I think grumpy is a little acceptable for this one.
Yeah, there's a time and place. It was now.